Yet another chapter, our kind of third in a row, that isn't a narrative of history so much as it is a discussion of the way things were at the time. This chapter is called Antebellum Culture and Reform. Antebellum simply means before the war, before the Civil War. And I'm also interested in that word reform. And in this chapter, we mean that quite literally. We're going to talk about people who want to create a new society, to give society a new form altogether, and not to make minor tweaks. And this comes from two things. One is the idea that America is a new world. We've been given this opportunity to create a brand new world. We don't have to follow any of the mistakes made back in Europe. That we can start all over anew again here, which of course is one of the great American ideas I think that runs through our history. The other thing is that we're going through rapid change, particularly in the North. As technology and the structure of the economy change, as people move from the farm to the city, everything is changing. And so you have two things going on. You have one, this kind of progressive impulse to create something new and better. But you also have this need for order, this need to hold things the way they are because things are changing so rapidly, and obviously that freaks some people out. The Second Great Awakening is crucial here. The ideas of the Second Great Awakening, particularly the idea that everyone can be saved, that every single person has some value, really that every person can go to heaven, is really vital to this entire concept of the period here. And by the end, all these efforts at reforms, all these discussions of morality and creating a better world will all, by 1860, of course, boil down to one topic: slavery. America has long had an artistic and intellectual inferiority complex to Europe. Romanticism, which is imported from Europe, will take root in America, and this is essentially a school of art based on an emotional appeal. But we begin to develop our own school of painters who come out of this romantic movement. And this is the Hudson River School. Painters from New York like Frederick Church, who you've been enjoying here. Thomas Cole, we're going to look at some painters here. Thomas Cole, Thomas Dowdy. You can pause if you want to take a look at these works of art. Asher Durand. They painted the Hudson River Valley, which was unsettled. It was quite beautiful and quite natural. And this is important because as we build these bigger cities, as we build these machines, as we industrialize, our artists are not going to look to that for their inspiration. They're going to look for the nature that we're leaving behind. They're going to look to nature, not civilization, to find knowledge and wisdom and beauty. This effort would spread west. Guys like Albert Bierstadt and Thomas Moran will begin to paint things like Yosemite in California, the Yellowstone up in, Montana, I believe it is, Wyoming, somewhere up there, the Rockies. And actually, they'll go out west. They'll paint these beautiful natural geographic features, bring them back east, and have gigantic shows with thousands of people who come to see these paintings because there were no pictures yet. There was no internet. There was nothing like that. If you wanted to know what the West looked like, and the West is really spectacular from a geologic point of view, then you had to go see these paintings. And so this was incredibly popular and significant back in the day.